What if I told you you're a time traveler right now, this very second? No, I'm not kidding. We're going to break down how you're already a total pro at this whole time travel thing, even if you had no idea.
Oh man, we've all been there, right? You're scrolling through old photos and bam, there it is, that haircut. And you just think, if only I could go back and just talk some sense into my past self. Well, what if you actually could? It might sound like something straight out of a movie, but get this. The laws of physics, they don't totally say no way to time travel. So let's dive into the weird, the wild, and the totally mind-bending science behind it. We're going to count down the top 5 facts that might just blow your mind. Okay, fact number 5. And yep, I was being totally serious earlier. You are already traveling through time. Right now, you're cruising into the future at a pretty steady 1 second per second, but you're also a master at looking into the past. Think about it. Every single time you gaze up at the stars, you're actually looking back in time. For real, the light from those distant stars has traveled for ages just to reach your eyes. And hey, it's not just stars. Even when you look at our own moon, you're not seeing it as it is right now. You're seeing it as it was 1.3 seconds ago. How cool is that? And to really drive this home, check this out. When you look at Polaris, the North Star, the light you're seeing is 323 years old. That means if that star just poof, disappeared right this second, we wouldn't know about it for more than 300 years. Seriously, my mind is blown. All right, so looking into the past, check, we've got that down. But what about actually traveling through time? Well, according to this one really smart guy you might have heard of, Einstein, the secret isn't some crazy complicated machine. Nope, it's just going fast, like really, really fast. This whole idea is called time dilation, and it's wild. The easiest way to think about it is like this. The universe gives you a kind of speed budget. The more of that budget you spend moving through space, the less you have for moving through time. It's this cosmic trade-off. So if you're zooming around, your clock is literally ticking slower than for someone standing still. And this isn't just some crazy theory, you guys. We have proof. NASA actually put this to the test with these two identical twin astronauts, Scott and Mark Kelly. So Scott went up to the International Space Station for over 500 days, zipping around the Earth at incredible speeds, while his twin brother Mark stayed right here on the ground. So what happened? Well, after all that time in space, Scott came back to Earth, get this, 5 milliseconds younger than his own twin brother. Okay, yeah, it's not a huge amount, but it is real, solid proof that time travel into the future is actually possible. Okay, so traveling into the future by going super fast is cool and all, but let's be real, it's kind of slow going. What if there was a shortcut? A cosmic shortcut? This brings us to fact number 3, a concept that sounds like it was pulled right out of a sci-fi blockbuster, wormholes. All right, stick with me here. Imagine that the entire universe, all of space and time, the whole shebang, is just a giant flat piece of paper. Now, if you wanted to get from point A to point B, you'd have to crawl all the way across the paper. It would take forever, like millions of light years forever. But what if you didn't have to crawl across? What if you could just fold the paper in half and then poke a hole right through it? That is basically the idea of a wormhole. It's a theoretical tunnel that literally bends spacetime to create a shortcut between two super distant points. You could hop from one side of the universe to the other almost instantly. It could even connect different points in time. But before you pack your bags, here's a reality check. Wormholes have some serious downsides. First up, we've never actually found one, so that's a bit of a problem. And second, even if we did, the gravity would be so intense, it would probably crush you into what scientists lovingly call cosmic spaghetti. So yeah, maybe don't book that wormhole vacation just yet. So we've talked a lot about hopping into the future, but what about the other direction? What about going to the past? Well, this is where things get complicated. Really, really messy, actually. And it's all thanks to something called a paradox. Okay, let's talk about the big one, the grandfather paradox. It goes like this. You build a time machine, you go back in time, and you stop your grandparents from ever meeting. Well, that means your parents are never born, which means you are never born. But wait, if you were never born, then who went back in time to begin with? It's a total logic loop that could literally break reality. Or, maybe the universe would just make you slip on a banana peel right before you could do anything. Who knows?
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Maybe our whole idea of time being this straight line from past to future is just not right. I mean, Einstein himself said that the whole distinction between past, present, and future is basically just a stubborn illusion. So maybe it's all happening at once? Whoa. And all of that brings us to our number one most important fact about time travel. While going to the past is a minefield of paradoxes and problems, traveling to the future, well, it isn't just possible, it's pretty much a guarantee. You just need a really, really fast ride. So let's take that time dilation thing we talked about and crank it up to 11. Imagine you're on a spaceship flying at 99.999% the speed of light. For you, on that ship, 1 day passes, just 24 hours. But when you come back to Earth, almost 200 years would have gone by for everyone else. You would have literally jumped 2 centuries into the future.
So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, unfortunately, going back in time to fix that terrible haircut is probably going to stay in the sci-fi movies for now. But taking a one-way trip to the future, that's practically written into the instruction manual of our universe.
So I gotta ask you, if you had a one-way ticket to the future and you knew you couldn't come back, when would you go? How far forward would you jump? No, for real, I want to know. Drop your answer in the comments. I'm super curious to see what you'd choose. And hey, if you had fun on this little trip through space-time with me, do me a favor and hit that like button. And definitely subscribe for more explainers like this. Thanks so much for hanging out.